And this is Paul from the Money Mob, and this is the Money Mob Live with yours truly, Paul Muhammad. And for those of you who are unaware and used to the whole Money Mob phenomenon and don't know who I am, my name is Paul Muhammad, and I am the founder of crowd purchase movement Money Mob. Money Mob essentially works towards using group economics to support black businesses. Our main claim to fame is our Money Mob event, where we target people usually by referrals, and at a day and time we mob that business. Nowadays we're now mostly into media, and this is the reason why we are here live. I've got tonight I have a very, very special guest. This is a lady soul, and as I said, I'm so looking forward to have her on. And this is the great Semerah Killingbeck. Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Oh, good evening, Brother Paul. Thank you so much for that warm and wonderful introduction.
No problem, no problem. All right, so just before I get into everything, I want to just say greetings to everyone who's jumped on. Greetings, Roslyn. Thank you for coming on. Greetings. The DJ Supreme, good to see you on. Lovely, lovely, lovely. As I said, I have a good feeling about tonight. I think it's going to be a very, very a great and a wonderful, insightful evening. And as I said, I have, I've had you as one of the key guests that I wanted to have on for a good and long time. So look, let me introduce my introduction first, and then please you let us know. So look, I have with my guest Semerah Killingbeck. She is a consultant in web design and beauty, corporate trainer for a non-profit and fundraiser, and a certified mental health first aider for adults and young people. Her mission is to contribute positively to the well-being, welfare in those in the community in which we reside and beyond. And it's such a beautiful a mission. I always remember my teacher saying, you can build big buildings, but if you do not build people, those same people will burn down the buildings that you're building for them. So it is such a it is so beautiful to, as I said, have that kind of heart, that kind of spirit, and a sister on a mission. So as I said, that's enough about myself, myself and my introduction. My sister, please just introduce your good self.
Oh, no, give thanks, brother. So good evening, everyone. Or depending on where you're based, good afternoon. So as Paul shared, my name is Semerah, and I feel very blessed actually and privileged to have walked so many different worlds or straddled so many different worlds in terms of my professional background. And so I have over 23 years of experience within relationship management, customer service, and business and banking. Over 16 years experience within anti-money laundering and investment banking perspective. So from a compliance perspective, I'm a good person from the banking world. Still from the global crash, people just feel like if you say investment banking, you were responsible. No.
Right.
But as Brother Paul shared, I do have over 6 years experience within the web design space, acting in a consultative capacity, and then within the more recent years, really and truly getting behind the scenes as well as in front of it with the development. But if I tell you the most important hat that I have had the privilege of wearing is since the pandemic, since 2020, where I've been volunteering in the capacity as a certified mental health first aider, supporting vulnerable and suicidal adults primarily, but also supporting our young people. And it's not because I'm, the Black Mother Teresa. It's nothing to do with that. It's purely that throughout the different hats I've worn in my professional life, as well as in my personal life, I'm a godmother to 4 children. and I adore my nieces and nephews, is that we all need each other. And the more that we can accept that we are social creatures, and as social creatures, it means that no man or woman can really and truly do life alone, and just lend a very, helpful, friendly ear, then the better our households would be, the better our society will be. And so it's just from that perspective that when I saw what was going on during the lockdown period, and recognizing that domestic violence was going through the roof because people were isolated, unfortunately, the rate for those taking their own life was going through the roof. I felt, well, what skills and attributes do I have that I could actually lend and be a positive contribution to our community, primarily to society at large? And so that's when I certified in that capacity as a mental health first aider. And it's just because of the different hats that I wear that then led me into becoming a transformation and success coach. And so that's my journey. We all have a story, we all have a journey, but I feel very blessed and privileged, as I said at the beginning, that because of the different hats that I've worn, I've worked in America, worked in Spain, studied in Spain. I really have a grasp and understanding of how different cultures work. And that means that actually we're the same. For the most part, there's not that much that separates us. And so it's just a plum pleasing pleasure, as the great Les Brown says, to be able to contribute positively.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Now, the first thing I need you to do, and Semerah, I need you to maybe just go back slightly, and I can see you more in the frame.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, brother.
That's right. I see now. Yeah, I see now. I can see the supermodel. All right. Good.
Oh dear! I got glammed up for yourself and all of our wonderful family that will be watching.
Excellent. Semerah, I mean, okay, just give us just an insight of your own journey, your own personal journey towards now, that led you towards, being a transformational coach.
Well, in terms of from a professional perspective, I've always worked as a trainer. And even when within the world of consultancy, you're very hands-on with clients. And I believe that knowledge is power, but only when it's applied. And you can only apply it once you feel empowered to use it. And so for that reason, I mean, I'll be showing my age. I look about 12, but multiply it by 3 and I'm still older. I've always wanted to see how best a person can get the most out of their time with me and it be a positive experience. And that's just me, period. So I'm very silly, as I'm sure all of our viewers can tell, and that's just me. And some will, will like it, some won't. It's me, and I'm comfortable in my own skin. But what I recognize is that we as adults struggle sometimes to ask for help and raise our hand to say, I don't understand. And so the reason why I then became a transformation coach is that back in December of last year, I was approached by someone who I hold in incredibly high esteem. And she had asked me if I do any kind of mentoring. And it's something that I've always done whenever asked, but not in an official professional capacity. So when she asked me, I thought, really? You're running a very successful business. I don't really know how I could be of benefit and support. And she said, well, the way in which you interpret information and relay it, I can understand you and you understand me. And I love your heart for people. So I'd really love for us to connect together. And I said, well, we're already connected as friends in that sisterhood, but I'm not too sure how I would be of benefit to you. Plus, at that time, I was incredibly swamped within my consultancy and web design business. So I said, well, let me get back to you and work out a few things. Unfortunately, I got ill, and this is important because I fell ill between March and June. And so a lot of my clients had to put them on hold, and there were people that wanted to contact me in my capacity as a web designer, and they weren't able to to obviously work with me. I share that with you because I was humbled that people waited until July who'd wanted to book an appointment with me in March to say, Sister Semerah, I want to work with you. And ever since, I've worked in the web design consultancy space, and also I fundraise. Again, volunteer. It's not my profession. It's just something I love to do. And because I also have a beauty background, I leverage the two skills to run events and fundraise for different non-for-profits. So some of them are official charities, some are CICs. But it was during this period of me being unwell, hospitalized, and unfortunately at one stage I almost lost my life, that I started to take note of all of the signs that the Most High was given to me. And that was because I had a variety of people reaching out and just sending prayers. Some didn't know the extent to which I was ill, but they had recognized that they hadn't seen me, hadn't heard from me in a while. And that outpour of love, you'll be surprised what it can do for a person.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so come July, when I'm back and prepared to work again, it was wonderful to have, you know, that backlog, so to speak, of individuals that had waited. But every single time I had my consultation with these non-for-profits and or small business owners who wanted me to design their website, during the consultation process, they would all say, Semerah, do you offer business coaching? Do you offer any kind of mentorship? Because if you did, outside of the website, I would love to be mentored by you. And by the 11th person, I said, okay, God, I see there's something here. You want me to look into this further. And then someone actually via Instagram DM'd me. This was in September, and they'd seen me present on the Hidden Truth platform, and it was about this concept of self-fullness that I absolutely live my life by. And they'd seen that presentation, didn't really know much about me, but they said my spirit and what I was sharing resonated with them. They reached out to me in my DMs and said, how much do you charge for life coaching? Brother, I had never even really truly considered it at that stage. Mentoring I'd heard of, you know, business coaching, been approached, but life coaching, no one had ever said that to me at that stage. So I said, okay, this is insane that I'm pushing this away. I looked into accreditation, and I then certified as a life purpose coach. And on the 15th of October of last year, I actually got my certification, and I said, you know what, Semerah, this is a direction that you're being called into. And when I look back over, you know, the last 23 years, in every single aspect of my professional, personal, and volunteering life, I've always done my best to get the best out of people and let them see the greatness within. So for me, it's just a natural progression that come 2024, I mean, actually December of 2023 is when I officially launched as a transformation coach. Didn't really put any advertising out, and my client list was full from people just deciding to look on my website and see what I'm doing. They hadn't even been on my website in 2 years, but Spirit told them to go onto my website. They saw a coaching tab and clicked on it, and I'm very, very fortunate that I've got some amazing clients and some wonderful testimonials and case studies already, and it's only been that they've been with me since December.
Wow, amazing. So look, before I just go into your book, one of the things that I was just going to come to mind is this: you and this is something I see in our community as a large. People that are multi-talented, multi-gifted, even, because as I said, I mean, I know you. My first knowledge of you was on the Hidden Truth, yes. But I know you're a DJ also. You speak the Espanol, yes. Bueno, and I'm thinking, but wait a minute, I mean, how do you balance all of those gifts and talents? Because this is one of the things that I know that I'm speaking, even as a coach myself, how do you balance your own kind of life, knowing how much that you have to give? How do you balance without going crazy?
So do you know what you have to do, brother? And also I extend this to everyone that is watching live and on the replay. 30 to 60 minutes of happiness.
I love that.
That is how you're able to just woosah. I say to everyone, if you can't, for one reason or another, do 30 to 60 minutes of happiness. And yes, Sister Daisy, I am a human octopus. But you have to factor it in. I diarize everything. Let me tell you something, brother. My life is in this book right here. I diarize everything, but what gets scheduled gets done. And I prioritize that 30 to 60 minutes of happiness, and I do it on a daily basis. I say to anyone that if you can't, pick an activity once a week that will make you smile. I love to smile. I love to laugh. And so I'm not really a person that watches TV, but I subscribe to Netflix. And when you got your $10.99, it's coming out of your bank account. You don't even realize. I said, no, I'm going to put it to use. They got some great comedy specials. And so obviously, Sister Nicola, and big up Sister Nicola from FP Comms. I believe she was speaking and sharing with the family last week and talking about Cat Williams. That man is brilliant. He is a genius. He's got loads of specials. There's all different. Mo Gilligan. I love to laugh. So that's my 60 minutes of happiness. I leverage and make good use of my Netflix subscription. I'm a person, I love to walk. So if I can walk everywhere, I prefer to do that than taking public transport and just getting out in nature. I really recommend that if you can only take 15 minutes to just walk somewhere, get out, even if you've got a garden, don't do it confined within your home. Go to a park so that you are away from your house. If you work in an office, I'm self-employed, but I work from home a lot. But if you work in an office, so many people take cigarette breaks. Why can't we take walk-in breaks? I'm personally not a smoker, and I don't drink alcohol either, but that's by choice. So it's not to castigate anybody. But I know when I used to work in an office, every minute the smokers took their smoking break. So what we should do is put on Outlook a calendar pop-up and book yourself an appointment that every hour you're going to step away from the desk, go for a water break, get out of the office, just take in some air and just reset, recharge. But, these are just a couple of little tips that I just throw out there. And that's actually what I used to do when especially in banking, where it's incredibly stressful. I was working with Hong Kong, which is 8 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time, Singapore 7 hours ahead, New York are 5 hours behind. And I used to service all of those markets, as well as Europe, that are 1 to 2 hours, depending on the country. And it's stressful. And it got to a stage of where I actually developed lupus, SLE lupus, because of the stress that I was under. And it was in 2012 that I had to make some decisions. So family, what I'm sharing with you, I don't believe in theory. Theory is good, but I believe in practical examples and practical things that can change a person's life. So what I'm sharing with you, I do and have done, and it has supported me along my journey. So these are just some of the things that a person can do if they're working in an office environment. Take your lunch break. So many people work through lunch. Please don't do that. Take your lunch break. If your lunch break is an hour and you are stressed or under pressure and you think, I can't take it, take half an hour, take 30 minutes. Give yourself that gift of saying, I am worth it, I am valuable. And the more that we can do these small things that seem small, we are actually educating and teaching ourselves and ourself that we are worthy of love. that we are worthy of being respected, which is what my coaching business is all about, which is finding your wow. Wow is actually an acronym that I realized I was living my life by, and I believed that it could be a blessing to other people. And the wow stands for worthiness. That's the first pillar in everybody's life. You have to have that sense of self-worth, because once you have that sense of self-worth, everything else, I promise you, family, will fall into place. The O is for opportunities to shine and to make an impact. And that's what Brother Paul was saying, that he knows me in all these different guises and different hats that I wear. And I've been blessed to be able to make an impact in so many different areas, because I've recognized that I've got different gifts. And so they afford me the ability to shine in different areas, and we all have them. And then that last W is our winning season. And by the way, our winning season is also where we can contribute to others and start to leave that legacy. Because that's what it's all about, is that we must do for self, because you can't give from an empty cup. Never let anybody make you feel bad because you're recognizing your own boundaries and that you need to take a rest. Rest is best. Or that you need to move on to another project or leave a particular place of employment. Don't make anybody make you feel bad for that. We all have to grow. Equally, once we have a solid foundation for self, we're better placed to then pour into others. Pour the overflow into others. Don't pour from an empty cup into others. So that for me is what finding your wow is all about. It's that worthiness, that self-worth, our opportunities to shine and make an impact. And let's win big, and do so collectively as a family.
Amazing. I love it. So many things that you said there are it's so profound. Especially if you are trying to kind of feed life, because you said you be living in an environment that's like it's like you're living in an environment descended upon by vampires who are sucking the spirit from you. How do you move away from the position of people who may be physical vampires or spiritual vampires in your environment?
Oh, great question, brother. Boundaries come from us knowing ourselves. So the whole concept of self-fullness literally has three components. The first is knowledge of self, second is self-love, and the third is self-confidence. When we know what we are willing to accept, what we are not willing to accept, and what we're willing to compromise on unapologetically, it then is slightly easier to say to somebody, no. Now, I love to help people, as you know, Brother Paul. I love to help a lot of people, potentially too many. And so what I've found is the power of no is important. However, for anyone who's a people pleaser, of which I had that illness, I had the sickness of people pleasing for many years. This is what I have done, where it makes me feel at ease. And it doesn't make me feel that I'm being rude or crass. Is I always say to someone, if someone says to me, oh, Semerah, can you do X, Y, and Z? I don't know. Can you organize this event for this organization? And if I know that I'm already swamped with other projects, what I always say is take a breath. Don't rush to say yes. First of all, just take a breath and say to that person, let me check my diary. I need to get back to you because I don't want to let you down. So I don't want to say yes when I'm unable to do it. So let me come back to you. I give you my word that I will come back to you. And if I can do it, you know I will. And if I can't, it's not because I don't want to, but I don't have the capacity. Let me double check and get back to you. That gives you an opportunity to step away from the situation, evaluate it. Is it a project or, something you want to get involved in? Do you genuinely have the capacity to do it? And it also gives that other person the chance to respect the fact, if they are a decent person, they will respect the fact that you honor them enough to not just say yes and then potentially have to let them down later on.
Yeah.
They can see that you mean business, but you're equally a person that has respect for them, respect for yourself, and a heart. So that's what I would say to anyone who feels that it's difficult to say no, because, you know, there are many of us who are people pleasers, but you have to get some boundaries. Otherwise, you'll burn out and you're no good to anyone. And more importantly, yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just to say hi to those who are on. Good evening, D Easy. Good evening, Penny _Rig. Good evening, Love Live 2090 2006. Good evening, Nicola FP Combs. Good evening, VJ _1993. Good evening, Lana, Miss Conscious. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, D Stewart. Good evening, Leela 82C. Good evening, Think Like a Bank. Good evening, Norma. Good to see you. Good evening, Dentrepreneur. Good evening, Wale _Uwaru. Good evening, Black Maven Business. Good evening, Rachel. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So, in life's journey, what would you give as 3 tips towards the journey of loving for self?
So there's 3 things that are very big things. So the first one is we have to accept ourselves as we are. We have to hold up a mirror and say, self, this is me. And that comes from acknowledging a concept called the inner child, which I won't go into. It's a massive subject matter, but effectively it's saying that things that took place in our past, we have to acknowledge them and respect that they took place, but know that you are not your past. You must get past your past. And, you know, I could go into a lot of detail on that, but it's all about accepting what has happened to us as children, knowing it's not our fault. And in many cases, our parents or our caregivers, for most of them, they didn't know any better if there was something negative that took place. And where we can bring the inner child into our adult self and marry the two, it's a beautiful thing. I'd have to go into that in much more detail another time, but it's a powerful thing. The other 2 things are much more accessible to people, which is self-compassion and grace. We have to be kind to ourselves. It's so easy to be kind to other people, but we've got to say to ourselves, you know what, self? I made a mistake, but I'm a human being. And human beings are flawsome, okay? We're flawsome. We are awesome, and we also have some flaws. And as long as you are, take it, brother. You can use that one. We as flawsome people.
Indeed.
You know, so you got to give yourself grace and recognize that we all have this shared human experience. The ups and downs, the highs and the lows. Life is about duality. So nothing's always going to be plain and smooth sailing. So we just have to accept that that's a situation and give ourselves grace. And then the third thing is I was asked in 2022 to deliver a presentation and a workshop on self-love as, you know, a subject matter. And I then, because I like to be practical, looked at my own life and how I have lived my life. And I recognized that it was through this concept that I've then coined called gifts. So the power of gifts is how I live my life. And the G is for gratitude. The I is for intentional, being intentional. The F is for forgiveness. The T is for your team and tribe, and the S is self-care. So taking each one in turn, gratitude. Every single day that I am able to open my eyes, doesn't matter if I'm in a hospital bed or in my bed, I give thanks to the Most High. And there have been times when I've not even been able to open both eyes, by the way. I still give thanks to the Most High. Gratitude, an attitude of gratitude will feed your passion and your desire to want more, do more, be more. And it just gives you this sense of lightness. and you then have all your burdens somewhat released from you, because we understand that we are part of a bigger picture. We are connected to nature, and that we're not on our own. Gratitude, really important. The I is to be intentional. Too many people are just coasting in life. Life is for living. Live it, but live it with purpose. Live it with intention, meaning you set the goals. You set the trend. You say what you want to do in life. What are your dreams? What are your goals? What's your mission? And mean it, and put a plan in place to get it. The F is for forgiveness. Now, by the way, this one is massive, because it's easier for us as humans to forgive other people, but not so much to forgive ourselves, number one. Number two, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation with the party that harmed us. It means that we acknowledge what took place. If they apologize, they may not even apologize, by the way, and that's fine. If they apologize, we can accept their apology, but we don't have to accept them back into our life. Very important. When it comes to ourselves, that's that recognition of the shared human experience that we are flawsome and that we will make mistakes. We just have to accept that. But we must make sure that we learn from that mistake by changing our behavior. If someone apologizes and doesn't change their behavior, that's manipulation. And that includes for ourselves. If we say that, you know, I'm not going to drink and then drive, and you know, you've hit someone because of drink driving, for example, if you don't change the behavior, then that's manipulation. But if you say, do you know what, I recognize the wrong that took place, I'm genuinely sorry, and it's not going to happen again, and you put steps in place and parameters in place for that to not happen again, because you are controlling, at least from your side, your behavior, that will lend itself to you having much more love for self and confidence in self. That's the F. The T is for your team and tribe. We cannot do life alone. We are social creatures. And so who you have around you is equal to the consumption of your food, by the way. You got to be mindful of what you eat, mindful of what you see, mindful of what you hear, but mindful of the people around you. Your team, your tribe can be your prison, and it can be your power. My dad has always said to me from when I was a child, you know, show me your friends and company, and that tells me the person you, show me your friends and show me the company you keep, and that tells me all about you. Sorry. He's always said that to me, that the people that we hang around will have more of an influence and impact on us than we think. That law of osmosis. So show me the kind of person you be by looking at the company you keep is key. Are your friends happy for your happy and sad for your sad? Or are they only happy for your happy? Or are they only sad for your sad? Now, by the way, if someone is very negative around you, then you need to keep them at arm's length. Do not tell them your goals and dreams, because if they're negative, they will harm you. They will keep you shrinking rather than excelling and expressing yourself. They will, and it's sometimes not even their fault. It's because they've got limited beliefs. They haven't been able to achieve the best that they can do, so they can't see it for you. That's not their fault, but you have to have that inner confidence to say, I'm not taking advice from you. Equally, when you're on a high and everything's going really well in life, look and see who is there when everything's going well. Because a lot of people will be there for you, cheering you on. Go, sis, you're amazing. I know you could do it. But then if something bad happens, are they there for you as well? Flip side of that, your team. Look at who criticizes you. Sometimes the people who criticize you love you. So you've got to use the power of discernment. When someone is criticizing you, it's not always a negative. It's because they know that you can do better. Sometimes people are not criticizing you, and they should be, but it's because they want to just stay close. They're like moths to a light. So they want to just stay close to what's hot that minute, or they don't want to upset you. Those people are not your friends either. Because trust me on this. If I see that someone is acting out and they're in my friendship group, I'm not going to embarrass them. So I'm not going to say it publicly. I'll find a time when we can actually, speak on a one-on-one, and I'll say, my love, is that me, I'm coming from a place of just, I need to share this with you. For example, random example, if you can see a friend is taking recreational drugs, for example, bit extreme, but I'll use it. Actually, no. Let's say that a friend is in a relationship and you can see that that partner, male or female, doesn't matter, has some traits. They're a little bit suspect and you're seeing some red flags and your friend can't see it. If my friend didn't tell me that they could see some red flags, they didn't like the way he spoke to me. Or if I'm saying to my friend, I'm checking, I'm like, oh, I don't like the way that she's dealing with you in public. She's not honoring you as a king. I'm going to tell my friend. Because if you're my bona fide, I should be able to tell you the good and the bad. Very important. And then the last one is an S, which stands for self-care. And for me, self-care is anything that we do that is positive for the betterment of our mind, body, and soul on a daily basis. And so this is why that 30 to 60 minutes of happiness is so key. Everybody is different. And so that comes from knowing yourself, knowing your self-love languages. I believe in powerful affirmations. Just because if we look at it, Brother Paul, you know about the positive to criticism ratio. Most people, they need, if there's one criticism that they hear, they need to hear 5 positive things to counter that one criticism. But brother, tell me, how many times do we know this to be true? Most people will hear 5, 10, 15, 20 criticisms and close to 0 positives, right? So affirmations, some people don't believe in them, but sometimes that's the only time a person's going to hear something positive said to themselves. So exactly. You see what I'm saying, King? So it's a really important step in someone's self-love journey to recite 3 times a day a powerful affirmation. And say it out loud, because when you say it out loud, your voice will hit something solid, hit a wall or whatever, and that will then ricochet and sit within your heart, sit within you on a cellular level. And so that's just feeding your spirit and your mind very positively. You got to move as well. Now, if someone is disabled, for example, so they can't get out as easily or can't move as easily as everybody else, then even if you're just raising your arm a little bit, just do something to move so your body can feel that motion, right? And then, things for the soul. If you can't go out in nature, bring nature into your home, have some live plants. If you can have a dog, cat, they're very soothing to people. I personally don't have pets, but I know some people do very well with having pets. But equally, meditation and prayer, very, very key. Listen to music. Music always, uplifts me. And it can transcend a person to a really beautiful place where it's a happy moment. And that can contribute to that 30 to 60 minutes of happiness. There's all different types of ways in which self-care can manifest itself. But it comes from the individual knowing themselves, knowing what works for them, and then being bold enough and brave enough to value themselves. Again, I believe it was Sister Nicola last week that said that we don't value ourselves. And so that's when we would disrespect ourselves and each other, is because we don't value ourselves. Well, when you do these self-care activities, you're actually in an unconscious way telling yourself that I value you, you matter. And then it will then build up from there.
Amazing. Just to say welcome to JK Better Live. Jason, good to see you. Welcome to Leela 82C. Welcome to Andrea Big Nanny Hair Products. Good to see you to join. And yes, this has been an amazing, and as I knew it would be, it has been an amazing interview. Right, so we're just coming to the last few questions. One, I always talk to people about all right, it's one thing you taking your journey toward being successful. It's another thing when you are successful, and the dangers of not managing success. So now you've taken someone to the journey, through the journey. How do you let them know to and find ways or mechanisms to manage being a success?
Well, what does success mean? Because it's like on, asking someone how long's a piece of string. Because success means different things to different people.
Indeed.
So that's the first thing, to be honest, is dependent on the person. They will determine what success is. I suppose as a society, we typically say that success is if you've got a house with the white picket fence, 2.4, or is it 2.5 children? I don't know how you get half a child. But somehow they came up with this concept, right?
Indeed.
It comes from managing success, comes from those three pillars of knowledge, love, and confidence. Because if you are confident in yourself, you will trust yourself and you will back yourself to have actually gained the success in the first place. And you don't need to be show off about it. True success is quite silent, actually.
Indeed.
The tree, when it grows in the forest, as big as it is, that oak tree, it's not making noise every time it shoots up meters and meters and feet and feet and feet. It's not making noise.
Indeed.
But when you have people that need to show that they're successful, a lot of the times it's because that wounded inner child is actually wrestling with that adult self. Again, it's a concept that we could speak about another time, but I would definitely say to anybody who's struggling is I would ask them, what does success actually mean to them, number one? Number two is we start looking at some of the self-sabotaging behavior as well, because sometimes if we come from a family where maybe someone hasn't made six figures in the family unit, and then you all of a sudden land a job where you're making £110,000 a year before the age of 30, you may be thinking, oh my goodness, am I worthy of this money? No one in my family, I've seen people working 3 jobs and they're in debt, and I've never seen this. This not supposed to happen to me. That's what some people think.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is then flip those limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs. And that's why your tribe is so important, because the people that you have around you will definitely have a direct impact on how you see success and how you maintain certain pillars that we in society, including money, see as symbols of success. Indeed. So I definitely think we need to have a good tribe around you.
Wonderful. Just to say some of the comments, Nicholas says, love this. And JK Better Life says, the way I did it is by rip up my limiting beliefs, and he did that last week. Welcome, Sabro. So good to have you on. And that's right. It's again, it's identify. Yeah, what does success mean to you? How do you gauge success? And you hit everyone knows me, and I always talk about the tribe, your tribe, and how important your tribe is in regards to informing you, driving you, and how important the tribe is, especially if you're now looking not only your present but also your future.
Absolutely.
So yeah, beautiful. So look, I'm coming to the end. Yeah. Semerah, please let us know about, where can we get a hold of you? What, how can we, log in and, and really get more of, your serious, teaching and journeying. How can we get a hold of you?
Give thanks, brother. So my website is themirrorgroup.com, and you'll see a whole plethora of services on there, from coaching, web design, beauty, some of the things that I do within the community as well. On Instagram, I'm at Semerah K, and on Facebook and LinkedIn, I am Semerah Killingbeck.
Lovely. And I got to ask you the last question, which is the money mob question. Semerah, if you had one wish in regards to the Black community, what would that one wish be?
That we would recognize that we are not each other's enemy. That would be my wish. Hell gets nervous when we focus and when we love each other and love ourselves. So we need to not see each other as each other's enemy, but instead, I am because you are, or we are, sorry, Ubuntu is I am because we are. Is when I see you, I should see me. And if I've got love for me and confidence in myself and knowledge of myself, then not only will I see that in you, but I'll wish it for you. And the more that we can walk on that path hand in hand, no one behind, no one in front, we're walking hand in hand. We'll do business together. We'll have better and healthier relationships professionally, in our spousal relationships, parent, child, you name it. All will fall into place a lot more if we can really take that concept on of Ubuntu, of I am because we are, and recognize that we are not each other's enemy.
Absolutely. So, Semerah, as I end, I've gotta say, you're going to have to come back one of these days down the line. You know, I will obviously space it to that. I don't push the boundaries, and I have to get to know.
But it's very hard to say no to you, Brother Paul. You're amazing. I really respect what you're doing for our people.
Thank you so much. Because what you are saying are fundamentals, and as I said at the top of the the show, we can build buildings, but if we don't build people, then the buildings they're no use, because the same people that you're trying to build for, they're going to burn it down.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And who, you know, who knows it, who feels it, knows it. And you know, your journeying as well as you know, your work definitely you know, proves the fact. I think it's so important. And as I said, I can see us definitely having to have you on again, maybe every quarter or something like that. Just you know, maybe we'll do something like that. But again, thank you so much, Semerah. So much. It has been a blessing. I've taken up I've, you know, I'm literally I'm listening, I'm writing, and taking down notes and everything. Amazing.
No, I give thanks to you for this honor. It has been a plum pleasing pleasure, as Les Brown would say.
Absolutely.
But you know, from my head and heart to yours, I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you all for affording us this time and space, and give Brother Paul a round of applause for, you know, bringing so many different people together with his interview, so that we can all learn from each other and do what it is that we need to do, because I am because we are. So give thanks to you, Brother Paul.
Thank you. All right, so with that, I want to thank you all for coming on. Please make sure you follow what we're doing within the Money Mob. Follow the Money Mob 101 and be a part of the journey, be a part of the mission, and be a part of the army. And as I said, we'll be on next week. And for those who have missed it, this will be on the platform, so people can direct them to the interview. I know that they will get so much from what has been said this evening. And if you want to know more about what we do, it is just go on to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, or YouTube, Money Mob 101. And remember, support Black business, support the Money Mob, because it's indeed the future of Black economics. Have a good evening. Take care, my sister. Good night.
Take care. Good night.